3.
2, 1. Said that 10 seconds ago.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, and today we are going on about two different animations because both of them are kind of different, but they're of the same material. The first is called The Lord of the Rings, and it is from 1978. It was directed by Ralph Bakshi, and it starred uh, Christopher Guard as the voice of Frodo, William Squire as the voice of Gandalf, Michael Scholes as the voice of Sam, John Hurt, the storyteller, as Aragorn, Simon Chandler as the voice of Mary, Dominic Guard as the voice of Pippin, Norman Bird as the voice of Bilbo, Michael Graham Cox as Boromir, and so on and so forth. It was written, at least the screenplay was, by Chris Conkling and Peter S. Spiegel, and it was based on material from J.R.R. Tolkien's novels, The Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers. Let us see what IMDb says about the film, and then we'll go on through our first impressions. So, the Fellowship of the Ring embark on a journey to destroy the One Ring and to end Sauron's reign over Middle-earth. So, let's go into first impressions. Let's go with you, Boris. What did you think of the Lord of the Rings animation?
Well, I must say, when you guys told me there was an animated movie which is so much older than the movies, the live action movies, I was very surprised because I didn't know that these movies existed and that they were actually this old. And I made the epic fail of watching only the first Lord of the Rings animated movie. I didn't know there was this Return of the King because when I looked it up on Wikipedia, I found something about cancelled sequels, and I guess I misunderstood something and saw that the Lord of the Rings animation from 1978 was the only one that was made. So I failed to watch the second movie. So I hope I will not be too much of a disappointment in this
So this is why he's a
discussion.
Ferrari squab, guys.
But uh, yeah, I am. Well, uh, uh, I would say for an animated movie from the 70s, I guess it wasn't that bad. Although after seeing the live action movies, it was kind of strange to see these characters portrayed so much differently and being so nothing like the way I visualize them after seeing the live action movies. So yeah, it was kind of weird, but an interesting experience. And I will also watch Return of the Kings with a delay. So yeah, I'll see what I end up thinking about it. Uh, Dave, you are muted.
Day squab.
I was waiting to see if you were done.
Yeah, that 5 minute silence I didn't tell you.
Yeah, okay. Heading over to you, Kroll.
Playing
What's
a
the
game.
perspective?
Yes, it
or are
was.
you?
First, last, and only. All it did was make me want to watch the movies again. Mostly. I mean, the story, the way they told it was decent, I suppose. A little bit of changes from the movie. Closer to the book. Like Legolas showing up instead of Arwen. Um, but again, that's more like the book. Uh, and a few other things. So, the story was really decent. The animation was horrible. And the portrayals, like Sam, they made him a pussy. Like, straight up pussy. Like, he was great in the movies. Like, I don't know why they made him like that. Like I said, the artwork in itself was horrible, especially for Sam. It wasn't that great for Miriam Pippin either. Frodo and Bilbo were okay, but yeah, I definitely did not like the animation at all. Um, maybe as a kid, I might have. I don't know. Kind of had taste then too, but actually didn't know they existed until recently. I had seen The Hobbit, um, loved it, but that's kind of like Lord of the Rings itself. I mean, I didn't know that existed until the movie came out. So I just kind of fell behind on Lord of the Rings. I don't know. Just never knew about them until later. I absolutely fell in love with the movie and went and got the book as soon as I watched that first movie, Fellowship of the Ring. Because I had to know what happened, so I reread the book and read the other two books. And I recommend, if you like reading at all and you like Lord of the Rings, to pick them up and read them because they're great and they're definitely different. There was stuff that is as great as the movies were, and as much as they did tell you, there was stuff that they did cut out. That was really great too. So read those books and read the Hobbit book too if you haven't done that yet as well. But yeah. So I mean, I guess the anime is worth a watch once. Um, like I said, the animation was not the greatest, but yeah. Other than that, the story was pretty decent. Still close to the movie and books.
Yeah, if you don't know anything about Ralph Bakshi, he was behind a lot of the claymation, like Christmas stuff, like the Little Drummer Boy and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer
I
and
actually
things of that
love those, and I
nature.
love the animation in those. It's just
Um,
I don't know. I mean, for Lord of the Rings, it just didn't
I
fit.
know after this particular one he did Wizards, which was another animation style with rotary type animation, which is in the vein of like films like Fire and Ice and films of that nature, like even like Heavy Metal um, or Heavy Metal 2000. Actually, more specifically, Heavy Metal.
I've
Uh,
only seen Heavy Metal. I haven't seen Heavy Metal since that one.
but this is a film in that vein of animation, and uh, this was my first time with at least the Lord of the Rings animation. I knew about the 1978 animation, and I'd never seen it, and I thought that the how they did the beginning with the telling you about the like the nine rings of power and that went to the race of men or whatnot. It seemed like they did it with like shadow puppetry in a sense. It's kind of like they used like like this red cloth and like used the shadows of people and
uh,
to do some of that. Did you notice that it looked like it was behind like a red cloth?
yeah,
Yeah, it definitely
yeah.
felt like puppet. I'm pretty sure they did use like puppets. That's how it felt.
So a lot of the narration
Now, The goblins and the orcs are also the animation was really bad too. They were even worse than the hobbits were.
Well, that was people dressed up as like men in suits, and those didn't even look like goblins or not goblins, but orcs or whatnot. They didn't really even speak English per se. When they spoke English, it was jumbled gibberish. Like you couldn't even understand some of that. Um, you do
Like a lot of
get
people that live here.
a um, what happened in the book, though, which was the fact that that 17. It wasn't until 17 years later that you that Frodo uh, goes on his journey to with the ring.
Oh yeah,
Frodo and the Nine
yeah,
Fingers in the Ring of Doom. Sorry, just
I
had to do that.
noticed them mention 17 years, and I realized it didn't seem familiar from the first movie.
It's because the movie didn't do that. The movie it seemed like it was like right away.
But I mean,
Mm.
there were parts that I enjoyed from this animation because I do like the fact that you do get kind of a little bit of a Smeagol Deagle moment
Oh,
where
yeah,
in the shadow puppetry parts, you know.
yeah.
Where the
In the
world
movies, we only got that in the third one.
correct. Whereas, see, this is a truncated version of like the first two movies put into one. I mean, they
Yeah.
don't even do a proper
This
introduction
is
to
probably what Philip liked, because that's what he said about the movies that they could have been shorter, and basically they told the two movies in 2 hours.
yeah. This seems slapped. That's the thing. This seems slapped together, half thought of, and just because it was 1978 and there was nothing else out there for Lord of the Rings. You got to think about it that way. Like this was the
Yes, it
first.
was. It was called The Book,
Uh,
in my own imagination, which was a lot better than theirs.
but this was the first thing that they could think of for at least the Lord of the Rings as far as anything. And I
C,
thought
C for effort.
I
After
thought that
execution.
I thought the execution of it was interesting, but it wasn't entirely entertaining. And I'm sorry, but it seemed like a lot of the voice work was slept through and wouldn't. You know,
uh,
when they're in Rivendell and uh, he's supposed to at the end of all of them arguing say I will take the ring, you know. Instead it's like a sleep vest because they're just talking and then all of a sudden
I know, and
he
it's like Gandalf like volunteered him, which in the movie he volunteered himself, and Gandalf looked like sad about it, even though he knew that would probably be the case. He looked sad.
Mhm.
For this one, he straight up was like, "Oh, we need Frodo." Well, he didn't say Frodo, but we need someone small. And Bill thought he was talking about him, and he's like, "No, no, not you." Yeah.
I mean at the end of the day I'm glad that I saw it
It kind of made Gandalf an asshole, and
kind of
Bilbo
made
full of himself.
Bilbo kind of an annoying fuck.
Yep,
Um,
Bilbo was annoying and full of himself.
and
um, I okay, I
Sam
didn't notice that.
was a
What
pussy.
was
Yeah, Bilbo kept piping up during the meeting, and it was like, shut the fuck up already.
He wasn't
You know?
even in the meeting in the movie.
No, he wasn't even in the meeting in the movie. Was he in the book? Probably, but
Yeah, I think he overheard it, or like he was listening in on it. You know, he wasn't supposed to in the book, but he wasn't actually invited there into it.
and I was expecting Merry and Pippin to pipe up like towards the end of that, like, what about me and me? You know, they didn't
Yeah,
even.
no, they did not. And you notice it did say that cousins, just like they did in the book too.
Well,
Unlike the movie.
and they didn't get in trouble in the very beginning either. You
No,
didn't
no,
you
they
didn't
just
even
went. They
get
went with him because they knew about the ring and because they had seen Bilbo use it, and then they kind of spied on him the whole time, and so they knew what was going on, which is kind of more like the book.
Yeah, it is kind of more like the book, but you would have thought that there would have been like more interaction with them, like even at like the birthday party of Bilbo, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
the birthday party was
all of a
definitely a
sudden,
lot more spectacular in the movie, but he did give that speech, that wonderful speech.
yeah, he did give that wonderful speech and whatnot. But let us get into the um, plot of this. So we have the very beginning where it's all that shadow puppeteriness, and we get that, that we do get the fact that Isildur um, ended up not like taking it to Mount Doom and all that
Well, he
jazz.
took it. He just didn't throw it in,
Correct.
just like Bilbo started not to do as well.
And he does get set upon
Not
by
Bilbo, I mean Frodo.
arrows, and the ring falls to a river, which we got the name of the river this time that it fell to. I forget the name of it right now, but
Yeah,
they
they did say the name of it, didn't they?
uh,
they said the name of the river,
yeah,
uh,
I
in,
forgot too.
but
Anduin?
something like that. But
Oh.
it then gets picked up by a friend by the name of Deagle, and Smeagol have a little bit of a fight, and I guess
I've given you a birthday gift with all the money I could. I'm keeping this. It's mine. Yes, my love. Kills him.
yep.
And Diggle gets put down.
And you kind of get a shadow puppet a moment to kind of do this whole transformation
He
thing, but it really
was
doesn't fucking
sneak
work.
around, and then he got cursed out and called Gollum.
Yeah, but if you notice later when Gollum shows back up, he calls himself Smeagol the entire rest of the
Oh
film.
yeah, I did notice that.
It's like,
Yeah.
I like it better that he did.
Also, if you noticed when they first met Aragon, you know, he said, you know, he was the ranger, and then immediately he's like, "I am Aragon, and son of Arathorn." Where you know they didn't find that out until Rivendell at the meeting, who he really was. So
Correct. To them, he was just the ranger or
yeah,
strider,
he was
at
just
least.
Strider the Ranger.
At least until Frodo fucking wakes up from that fever, and I think it's at the meeting
I
that
do like in this one. The one thing I did like about this one is when the Nazgul leader came to stab Frodo. He actually fought back. You know, he had like a little sword fight first, and he tried to fight him back. Whereas in the movie, he
yeah.
just got stabbed. That was it. You
And
know, there was no.
I do like that they take the moment where the Narskool. This is before they even get to the Inn of the Prancing Pony, where they've actually like finally met up with Merry and Pippin for the first
Yeah,
fucking
they
time.
only have one instead of like four. That was weird. But then you notice at the scene with the bed scene, there was five of them. There was only four in the movie. So they went from only having one to having five. which might have been
well,
more like the book. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been quite a
they
while since I read the book.
realized there was someone like coming to, like on the road, so they went and hid. Like I was just imagining, like in the movie, like with all the bugs crawling
Yeah,
out.
me too. I was expecting a bunch of them. I saw one. I'm like, okay, when's the others going to show? And then it was just the one. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird.
But you can see where they kind of got that scene. They got it from here, you know. But I do like the fact that this is like a blueprint, some of it
Yeah,
for the later. I would call this a blueprint, like a basis, like they could base on some of the
yeah.
scenes. Like
I agree.
when they show Rivendell as like this artistic painting. When you look at the Rivendell when they first bring it to you in the movie, in the later movies, it does kind of look like that, you know.
Oh, it's fucking gorgeous.
Oh yeah, Rivendell is fucking beautiful. Uh, but that being said, we do get this birthday party at the very beginning. Bilbo has his speech, and he disappears and goes back, and he does kind of have a moment with Gandalf where he's like, "It's fine, my own," you know, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot more intense, way more intense in the theater in the live action version. You know, and of course he puts the ring in the envelope in the animated version too, where he did not do that yet until afterwards. He put it in his pocket because he's like, oh, it's in an envelope on the on the thing, and then he's like, oh wait, no, it's not. It's in
Yeah,
my
instead
pocket.
he puts the envelope in his pocket,
Yeah,
you know.
no, it wasn't in the envelope in his pocket in the
Yes,
movie.
it was.
In the live action,
In
no,
the
it wasn't.
live action, no.
No, that's what I'm talking about. In the live action, it wasn't in the envelope at all. Yeah, so that was a little bit different. It might have been more like the book. Again, it's been since the what 2001 since I read
Yeah, and you don't even
the
get a
trilogy. So
conversation with Bilbo on where the fuck he's going, and the fact that he's got an ending to his book. He's just like he's just kind of like fuck yeah, no, okay, I'm going.
yeah, it's just like I'm out of here and like not even saying goodbye to Frodo. Nothing, just I'm gone. You know. And 17 years later,
Yep. 17 years
never my
later,
old ring. I should like to see it again.
uh, they have a conversation going outside to a bridge, and it's not till after they get down from this on the other side of this bridge that all of a sudden Wise pops out from a bush, and he's like, he has that moment. Have you been eavesdropping?
Yeah. I ain't dropped no eaves, sir, I promise. I ain't hear much, well, a good deal of, I ain't understand about a wizard and a ring and, and elves and, don't throw to Mr. Frodo, don't let me turn him into anything unnatural. Just still love that line from the live action, so they have that, I'm glad.
Which I do think that
They
there are
I sure would like to see elves. Well, you're gonna see
there
elves.
are
You're
moments
gonna go with
the
them.
voice of Samwise reminds me of the voice of Sean Astin in Lord of the Rings.
Not at all to me. I thought he sounded like a pussy. And I like Sean Astin was great. Like I said, he was a hero in that in those movies, and I loved him in those movies. He was great, and made Sam was a very they tell the story like Frodo is the hero, but Sam is if not more a hero than Frodo was. I mean, yeah, Frodo did carry the ring, but Sam kept him going. Sam, Sam saved his ass from the spider, then saved his ass from the orcs, and then carried his ass. Like, if it wasn't for Sam, you know, not the ring wouldn't have never gotten destroyed. You know, uh, and actually Gollum at the end because at the
Yeah.
very end of it, the ring finally got a hold of Frodo, and you know,
when they got to the end of the prancing pony, though, I would have thought that they would have showed like a little bit more of the journey to too, and
Yeah, like the book. Yeah, no, they skipped just like the live
yeah,
action did as well.
but the end of the
It
prancing
was
pony
even shorter. The shorter scene was even shorter in the animated.
that was a weird ass moment.
Yeah, it was.
Because you had animation on top of
And they like introduced them. Oh, we got people all the way from the Shire, and oh, Mr. Underhill. But he knew who he was too, because in the room he's like he said, "Mr. Baggins, I mean Underhill." Like he said his real name, so he knew who he was.
well, he was supposed to in the book.
Yeah, because
Uh,
Gandalf, because he was friends with Gandalf.
yeah, he in fact Gandalf had actually said that to him in the book that he was going
Yeah,
to be coming and be aware that he's under this different name.
yeah, he'll be under. I think he might have told him a name too,
Yep.
because Gandalf is the one that gave him the name Underhill
Yep.
in the book and the animated.
Yep. You shall go under the name Mr. Underhill.
In the
But
movie, he thought he gave him to himself. The live
I
action.
I do think that the part where he goes and sees his wizard friend Saruman,
Yeah, so
that part was cool. You there, Ron?
uh, oh shit.
I think you
Hello.
having an audio lag. Well, anyways, you were saying?
Yeah, and we've been having feedback this whole time.
yeah, I hear feedback too, so it can't be coming from me. But I hear it.
Well, sorry to say it, but when you muted your mic, there wasn't any feedback.
Well, it can't be just me because I hear feedback and I can't hear it if it's me. So it isn't just me. Somewhere else too.
Uh, I don't know.
Me either. I just know I can hear it this time.
Well, in any case, let us continue. So we are at the end of the Prancing Pony. You definitely do see Strider like laid back watching. But you don't know he's Strider. He doesn't even say that he's Strider. You don't even get uh, conversation with the innkeeper like you did in the live action movie. Okay, who is that guy staring at us in the corner? Um, uh, you have a moment where Frodo like trips and the ring falls onto his finger, and everybody gets loud and obnoxious for a moment. He gets berated by the innkeeper. Hey, you kind of caused quite a ruckus. I'm sorry, sir. Okay, we're going all the way back to the back of the room. And it's not until they get to the room is where they get the whole introduction to Aragon, Gorn, which I was thinking it was funny that the hobbits don't even have swords or are given swords. I mean, when it comes to the race, they do have the moment where they mistake pillows for the hobbits, but we do have a moment where they're on the
It
road.
looks more like
They
Sam had gotten stabbed in the movies the way they did in the movies.
they have what is it? Torches, not swords. When they're up against the ring
Oh
race.
yeah.
Yeah. Of course, in the book, Tom Bombadil gave him the weapons, and in the live action, Aragon gave him the weapons. But nobody gave him weapons in this version.
No, which is kind of missing. I think even the sword fight that you said happened with the ring wraith. Did he have? Did he have the sword yet?
Yeah, he had a sword. Um, that was before Rivendell, so I don't know where he got a sword from because he did have a sword because he did fight the Nazgul leader in a sword fight, so he did have a sword.
Okay.
I don't know where he got it from, but
I,
he had one.
See, that's one thing that's missing from the animation. Like, where the fuck did he get a sword? They all had torches, and when they were backing up in that
Yeah, and then
formation,
suddenly somehow he had a sword.
which he didn't get the sword until after he was at Rivendell because he was given the
Well,
mix.
that was Sting. He got Sting at Rivendell, but
Yeah, he got Sting,
he had a regular sword when he fought the Ring Wraith, the
which
leader.
is weird because you would have thought that them at all getting weapons would have been something that would have been more pronounced. You know.
Yeah, well, I don't think they all did. I think somehow just Frodo did, and I don't know how he did, but it seemed like only Frodo had the weapon. Frodo and Aragorn.
Well, in any case,
I do not like the drawing of Aragorn either. He
we
looked like
get
a
this
caveman.
moment where Frodo is alone on horseback, getting chased by the ring wraith, and I think this is after he's been stabbed. And there is a moment where he crosses a river, and uh, you do get that moment where they do start to wade across the river, and when they're in the river, all of a sudden this cloud of like horses and whatnot come and like carry them off down the river. But at first they were taunting him to come with them, come with us. We'll take you to Mordor.
We'll take you to Mordor.
Um, and what do y'all think about that moment when those moments when they keep on telling him to come with us? What do y'all think about the ring wraiths in general?
Uh, I'm sorry, my internet connection is glitching and I haven't been able to hear very well. Are we talking about the moment when they went with Aragorn further from that place when they
When
met
Frodo got
him?
stabbed.
Oh,
When
oh,
Frodo got
uh,
stabbed, and then when
from
the
what
Ring
I
Wraiths
remember,
got swept away in the water.
oh, well, from what I remember, at least story-wise, that was fairly similar to how it happened in the live-action movie, right?
Except that it wasn't Elrond who performed the
Uh,
magic. I think it was
It
uh,
was Awen in the
it was
in the movie live action movie.
oh yeah, I must say I was kind of bummed out that they excluded Darwin. Was she in the book?
She's in the book, yes, but it was Legolas who originally came and got Frodo. So they did a little closer, but he didn't really bring him back. Like he basically was the one that brought Frodo to Rivendell. Um, and then they changed the top because Arwen did not have a lot of screen time in the movies as it was, so I guess they wanted to give her a little more screen time, and which we're all happy for. At least I am.
it
So
was actually Elrond, and according to Gandalf, a little bit of his help supposedly. Even though in the live action movie, um, he was he was still working his way back, and he had no idea what was going on until he got into Rivendell in the live action movie. But he wakes up in Rivendell to Gandalf, and you get this whole moment where his friends haven't left his side for 3 days.
Except they're not by his side at all. Nobody's by his side. That's when he does wake up. Because he's like, what happened to them?
Yeah, they didn't even come into the room at all,
Yeah.
like to say hello to him or anything like that, which was, I think, what we kind of got in the live action movie. But then it goes to an explanation that it kind of goes from one segment to another, like instantaneously, because he's saying that Gandalf is that the ring has to go elsewhere, and that's when it goes into the whole council of the different creatures, and Gimli and Boromir are there. Boromir is quite older than he is in the live action, um, which kind of makes me wonder why he's talking about bringing the ring to his father later on, because that means that his father is like much older.
Oh, his father looks fucking ancient in the next movie.
Oh yeah, but we have this whole moment where all of a sudden Frodo says, "I will take the ring," and we have the interruptions from Bilbo, and honestly, the only thing that I'm taking from this particular scene is that Elrond is, in fact, the one that says the ring cannot stay there. And he's also the one that says, I think that this is the task that which has been given to you, for Frodo. You know, and even even though you even though this is a meeting that you were not invited to, and yet that's something that he said to Merry and Pippin in the live action.
He said to Sam, Merry and Pippin. Because Sam wasn't invited in that one either.
That's
He
right.
said it to all. He said it to all three.
Yeah. But yeah. So we get
Actually, he
the
first starts to say it just to Sam, and then Merry and Pippin show up, and then he says it to them too.
so we get the all nine of them going out to that pass.
And also, he did say that there were 9 ring wraiths. There'll be 9 for the Fellowship of the Ring. They compared the Fellowship Ring to the ring wraiths, too, which was
Yeah, they did.
different than they did in
Which
the
I
live
was
action.
thinking about that because they didn't do that in the live action.
Yeah, they just said there was 9, but and of course there's 9 ring wraiths, but they never gave you that connection between the two where they did in this, which is just kind of cool because I didn't think about it, until when they said it. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess there are 9 of each, huh?
Yeah, so there are elements of this movie that you can take away from it. It's just it was rather poorly done, I think, at the time. Even though I know this was probably the best that someone could muster at the time. But we do have them journeying forward,
I personally,
and
I know they could do better because The Hobbit was way better. So
which was done later.
no, The Hobbit was done first.
The Hobbit was not done first.
This was.
No, it wasn't.
Uh, I I
The
I
Hobbit
looked it up,
animation.
but I forgot what.
The Hobbit animation was done after the Return of the King. These two came first.
Yeah, really?
Yep.
So The Hobbit 1977 is after The Return of the King 1979?
Oh wait. So they did that
Jackass.
one.
Again, you're wrong.
Okay, fine. I'm wrong.
You usually are.
I'm not normally.
Yeah, right. I try to tell you things, and you're like, no, it's not, no, it's not, no. So I have to look it up to prove me
Okay,
wrong.
so the Hobbit it was done in 1977, which was a year before this one. I have not seen the Hobbit.
I have.
I cannot say.
Saw it when I was a kid.
I could not see.
I don't think I saw
I
it when I was
saw.
4 when it came out, but
I
The
saw the
Hobbit is
Return of the
actually
King.
on HBO Max. Um, like I said, it's not on. The other two are not on HBO Max, but The Hobbit is. It's because it's
See,
good.
I'm unfamiliar with watching the Hobbit at all.
Yeah, I watched that. Read the book. I knew all about The Hobbit. I just didn't know about Lord of the Rings.
Well, and the Return of the King. I don't think you
No,
know
I'm
about that.
saying Lord of the Rings in general. I knew nothing
Ah,
about.
gotcha.
So obviously, I didn't know about Two Towers, Return of the King, Fellowship of the Ring. I knew none of it.
Ah,
I didn't
well,
know. Like I said, My friend went to take me to the movies to see Fellowship of the Ring, and like when he said Lord of the Rings, I'm like, "What's that?" And he's like, looked at me shocked and said, "From the Hobbit." And that's how I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know about it." And I fucking loved the movie, and then I went and bought the books and loved them. But yeah, I didn't know until then, 2000 back in 2001. So that's when I read the trilogy.
so we are at the mountains of Carapass, I believe, and we do get a little bit of Saruman singing across the mountains, but not much. Like shortly afterwards, you hear that, and then I think there's kind of a little bit of an avalanche, and now they're discussing where to go.
Yeah, it was like super quick,
Well,
super quick.
truth be told, he didn't have that much screen time in the live action movies either, from what I remember.
He didn't have a lot of screen time, but he had some. This he had even less.
Saruman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, there was the whole wizards battle that was done at
there was a
in
Wizard battle in the live action too.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Right, but I'm
In the
saying
live
that he had
action.
more screen time in the live action than he did in the animated. Not that he had a lot in the live action,
Mm,
but
But
yeah.
yeah,
Philip is right. He did not have a lot of screen time. Just like Arwen
no.
never didn't have a lot of screen time either. Much to our
Well,
dismay.
yeah.
On both cases, because
I think the only woman
Christopher
that
Lee is fucking awesome.
I think the only woman that was involved in this animation was Eowyn, which we'll talk about later because we do get a truncated version of the Two Towers in this animation, very
Yep.
truncated.
Yep.
But we'll get there because now they have to decide where to go from the mountains of Carapass, and I guess there are
And in this one, Barrymore is like, I refuse to go unless everyone else says it. And what does the ring bearer say? Like it was Gandalf who didn't want to go. I mean, he didn't refuse, but he didn't want to go there, and he knew because he knew what they were going to hit. Kind of knew what was going to happen going there. So, but yeah, Boromir for some reason Boromir didn't want to go. in this version.
Oh yeah, uh, and what was the deal with Boromir's hat? It looked like something from Asterix and Obelix.
I have no fucking idea. All
Like I
I
said,
know is
shitty animation, man. Shitty animation.
all I
Sorry,
know
what did you say?
I said shitty animation, man. All I
all I
gotta
Ah,
know is
say.
they didn't really flesh out uh, many of the characters in here all that much. Legolas, okay, maybe he was a shiny white dude, but that's about it. And they do have they do have a couple of moments with Gimli where they give him some emotion, like when he goes when he goes
Yeah, not
down.
really. They just kind of like he's like I don't even no one knows what happens to them. Like in the movie live action, he was all like, "Oh, my cousin will give us a grand." Like he was thinking they're all alive and they'll have a grand fucking welcome and everything. Like in this one, he kind of knew something
Do
was
no
up, but didn't
fucking
know
clue.
exactly. So yeah, it was definitely less emotional in the animated than in the movie. They, they
Yeah,
they they barely touched upon the fact that his cousin died and they all died. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, and then they're off to fight. It wasn't really much of anything. It was a huge emotional scene in the live action. It was a great scene. So that's one thing that we lost. But again, it's animated, so it's more for kids. So I can see why they kind of left it out.
yeah. So what they decide to do is they go down to the mines of Moria, and I guess they have this moment where they're sitting trying to figure out what the word is to get in there, and
Oh
it's
yeah, and it's a different word. I mean, it's supposed to
oh
be the
no,
same word, but it's not the same word they use in the live action either. So,
oh, I forgot
and in the
that.
live action, it was Frodo that figured it out, where this one, Gandalf figured it out himself.
yeah, he does. Well, with Aragorn's help this time, it was
Really, I missed that. I
it
didn't.
was Aragorn this time, not Frodo, who said what's the Elvish word for friend.
Oh, I missed
You
that.
know, but as they figure that out, then of course you do have this moment where Frodo's looking out at the lake, and he
Yeah,
is
because I
afraid of
guess
it.
he noticed something in the lake because he's looking like
And as the door opens for the mines of Moria, that's when the squid, I guess, it starts to grab them. And Boromir actually goes and cuts the eel's heads off, and I guess he's the one who, which is different because it's Aragorn who cuts the eels or the squid's arms and legs off for the hobbits to
Ooh.
get into the mines of Moria in the live action. You know, maybe it's a little bit of both Boromir and
Yeah, I think it
Aragorn.
was Aragorn and Boromir. I think Aragorn did the majority of it, but Boromir was helping.
Yeah, but you get them going into the mines, and you don't see any bodies laying about or anything like that. So you don't have this moment where they're saying this is a
I
graveyard.
really did not like the Balrog scene either. It was just so much better than the live action. I mean, just just so much better. You know,
That Belrock
uh,
was so fucking
the
weird.
yeah, it was
Well,
really weird looking,
uh,
and the way and he didn't say you shall not pass either. He was just like you cannot pass, and he just kept saying it over, and it didn't really have that power of you shall not pass, and and putting it stick like it was definitely lackluster, a lot lackluster than in live action. And it's funny
And
because animated
well,
they
in
could
a
have
way,
drawn
yeah,
something.
but this is This is a 1970s animated movie.
Right,
Was
but
would anyone
animation
have really done it better
animation
back then?
has, you can draw something way more. You can draw anything you want. So they could have drawn a fucking badass looking Balrog, okay, but they didn't. So
Mm,
I don't care what year animation it was. They could have definitely drawn something way better than they did. I guess they
It's
didn't want to,
not.
maybe they didn't want to scare little kids or something. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, they definitely could have done better, but they chose not to.
Uh, Gimli doesn't show any emotion until it's read that his cousin Balin had actually.
Yeah, and it's not much emotion. Like I said, it was very, very lackluster compared to the live action. I'm sorry, I can't help watch this and not compare it to live action.
Neither can I.
Again, it came out, and when you came out and you watched this, it would have been, before the live action never been thought of. But unfortunately,
And
I saw
Gandalf,
live action first, so.
and Gandalf, he is already falling when he says, "Fly, you fools."
Well, actually, he
Uh,
said it twice. He said it while he was backing out. First, he said, "Fly, you fools," and then when he was falling, he said it a second time.
in this
oh,
animation,
indeed.
where he's not quite hanging on the edge and saying "Follow you fools" in the live action, and then he's
Yeah, I
falling.
know,
You know, so
I know, but
um,
he says it twice in the animated. Just
and
like he says "you cannot
there are
pass" like 4 times.
there are a couple of orcs outside as they're trying to go outside, which was not in the live action movie
That
either.
is true. But they
They
just like
were
pushed him aside, like
Yeah,
nothing happened.
like they were nothing, and then of course they have a moment where supposedly they're supposed to grieve, but then they say, "Okay, let's go into these woods," and then suddenly they're standing before Galandro. It's like, where the fuck was the introduction to all our fucking people?
Yeah, they
You
never had it.
Yeah,
And the way Gadriel looked, oh my god, the eyes, like what the fuck did she? Like she looked like an alien.
they made they made Eowyn or whatever her name was the same way.
Gadriel, Gadriel. Yeah, Eowyn. Yeah, I know. And I'm like, I thought the same thing. I'm like, they can't draw fucking women with shit. And she was, I mean, I was thinking, okay, maybe because she was an elf, they were trying to do something different. But then Aaron's a human, and it made her look the fucking same. Like goofy eyed, fucking, like, okay, put some glasses on because her eyes are twisted. Like, what the, like, they just, like, Gadriel's supposed to be gorgeous, okay? She's supposed to be gorgeous. Even in the books and everything, she's gorgeous. And the way
I
they
wonder,
drew her, it's like, okay, I don't know
I
who thinks
wonder
that's gorgeous, but yeah, okay.
what you'd say to the animation of the Lion and the Witch from the Wardrobe.
That wasn't that bad.
You saw that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
But
love the
yeah.
Russian wardrobe.
um
They need to do all
the
the movies.
Yeah, I wish they would have. And honestly, I like the BBC productions of the Lion
I
and the
never
Witch.
saw the BBB productions.
Those were awesome. If I ever get a chance to show you them, I'd love to.
I actually haven't seen, what did they did Beyond Dawn Trader, right? Didn't they do that in Prince Caspian?
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
all four of them
I,
as BBC productions.
what was the other one? No, 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 no. I'm talking about the other one.
Oh, you're talking about, well, first they did
The Lion, the
the
Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Lion and the Witch and Wardrobe, then they did Prince Caspian, and then they did
Oh, the
Voyage of
Dawn Trader. Yeah,
uh,
thought
uh,
so.
originally they were
I haven't
do
seen Prince
Silver
Caspian or
Chair
Dawn
too.
Trader. I don't know. Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe was okay. I think the animation was better. like the live action wasn't that great. It's just I don't know. They could have
You,
done way better.
like I said,
And
you should
so I
see.
never really watched the other two. But I really wish they would like that was something they could reboot, like come up with a live action version and the live action
There's
version, do all of them, or maybe a series, maybe a TV series would be
there's
better.
a set that I'll show you after the show. That you should probably eventually pick up and watch because
Oh, the BBC.
yeah, the BBC Chronicles of Narnia. And
They have
those
all
are
of them. They have
yeah they
all 7 books.
no they don't have all seven. They
Oh, that's
made
lame.
4 of them.
Lame.
That's what Disney was basing their blueprints on, anyways. So
Oh, Disney fucked up. I love Disney usually, but yeah, they. I thought it was Lionsgate that did it, or is
no, it
that
was,
owned by Disney too?
but in any case, let us go back to where we were. I believe we were just after they'd gotten out of Mines Moria, and they went to Galadriel, and that scene was
And they also didn't seem to be. They never really had that scene of like Frodo being upset about Gandalf being killed or any of them. They just kind of skipped over like oh well we lost Gandalf. Yeah, like
yeah, that
at least the elves are singing a song about him. Yeah, like
yeah.
oh he's gone.
Oh yeah, which there was a comment on. I didn't realize that Gandalf had so many names, or some
Yeah.
shit. You know?
Well, they actually only said 2 names in the animated version, where in the live action we thought would have quite a few more. Uh, because he had many names. Um, for me, he's always Gandalf. But he did. Aragorn did say that he think he enjoyed Gandalf the most as well.
Oh
But
yeah, I think they did mention that other name in the live action movies too.
Well, they mentioned a few names in the live
Mithrandir,
action. Is
if
what I'm
that's
saying.
how they.
The live action they mentioned Mythandor, and then what Stormcrow. Which they did mention Stormcrow in this one. They did, and there was another one. The
Oh,
Gondor called him something different too. I can't remember what it was. So like every region had a different name for him.
interesting. Yeah, I kind of forgot that.
and it's after this that you get them in. Uh, that's when they're in the boat, and you get the name of that actual monument. They don't name it in the live action, but they name the pillars of something. I forget exactly what they name them, but you get the name of this pillar that they go through to get to where they have this moment to grieve, and that's when Boromir actually tries to take the ring from Frodo, and Frodo and Sam, I guess, just go off. You don't even see Sam like, oh, okay,
No, they totally did. Like they both were in the boat, and Frodo did say, "I'm going off to Mordor by myself," and he's like, "Of course you are, and I'm going with you." But he was in the boat with him, saying that. Like it was weird.
yeah. It's not till Boromir
Yeah,
gets
like Aragorn didn't even know he left. Like he just left. He just went right from Boromir trying to take the ring to Frodo taking off to Boromir going, "Oh shit, what did I do?" Frodo come back, and then
and Aragorn didn't even have a moment where he let him go. You
yeah,
know,
I know. That's what I'm saying. They completely skipped that, which showed how much stronger Aragorn was than Boromir. You know, because he was human too, and he was able to resist the ring.
well, yeah, because he offered him the ring too. I mean, Frodo kept like offering the ring to everybody who came along, just so
I
that he
know.
could get out of doing what he needed to do. But you know, everyone kept saying, "Oh, I passed the test," or "Here, it's your burden to bear," you know. But yeah, so suddenly we get this moment where Aragorn is like, Frodo's fate is no longer ours. We're going after Merry and Pippin, or and the orcs, basically.
Yeah. And
So,
then instead of ending like Fellowship did, they went on to that scene, kind of.
well, yeah, they have some sort of color distortion shit to kind of show that they're actually running and running and running and running and running. But and we
But
do
you didn't get
kind
that
of get a
awesome
moment.
that awesome part where dwarfs are wasted in long distance. We are sprinters.
Well, there
Complaining because
is a
no rest, no
slight.
food for a week.
There was a slight moment where they give Gimli an actual comical line where he's like, I can't keep running," or some shit like that, you know. Um, in this animation of almost pure emotionless, because they cut all the emotions out. But
Well, truth be told, in the first two live action movies, there weren't many emotional moments either, or at least I got that impression.
well, there were definitely some from Legolas and Gimli. I mean, Legolas, in the live action one, he after they got out of the mines of Moria, he said to some extent, there is no words that I can express how I feel. You know, um,
Uh,
as he's
well,
looking
there
off,
was some at least.
and Boromir was trying to tell Aragon, "Hey, give them some time to grieve." You know, but uh, that being said, we have uh, I guess it's Gimli who sees the footprints, and we don't. I I think that's why I like the live action better, because I think that Aragorn was a better tracker, at least of footprints, because he followed where Merry and Pippin went into the woods, instead of, okay, the next moment that we see them looking at their footprints, they're in the woods, and they said they oh, they've been here, and then there's the White Wizard. But we do get the orcs.
Yeah.
Treebeard looked crazy too.
Yeah, we'll get there. But we do get the orcs getting set upon by the riders of Rohan. In fact, I could almost dissemble that the orcs were saying the Rohanians. That was the first English that I'd actually heard them say. Like through their gibberish, they had said Rohanians, quick, run, or whatever, or some shit like that. But they were set upon, and you do get this moment where they run into Treebeard, and he calls himself a tree herder, instead of, was it Merry or Pippin who said tree herder, or he also called it by another name. But you get this whole moment where
Mm.
Treebeard is walking them through the forest, but you don't see him
Oh yeah,
have
and
to meet the White Wizard, or nor do you see them at Isengard with the trees, the other trees. Kroll,
What?
do we see the trees turning
No,
Isengard down at all?
no.
So all we do is we see Treebearder walking off with them in the woods, and that's all we see of
Yep, that's it.
them. That is fucking strange as all hell. Because then we get the we don't even get the moment where Aragon actually realizes that Merry and Pippin are not in with the orcs. They just had their fucking battle, and that was pretty much it. And then they meet up with the White Wizard. They realize that it's Gandalf after they have that moment where their weapons were um, warded off from him, and realize that it's Gandalf. And then he's like, "Okay, we got to go to this land uh, and this king." And this is the really short part. This is where it seems like they're scrambling for time. Where they have the moment where they meet Wormtongue and the king. He doesn't even look like he's possessed. It just seems
oh
like
yeah, yeah, the like Wormtongue is l- just convincing him shit without using any magic or anything.
yeah, it just seems like King Theoden was just a mistaken man. That he was listening to the wrong ideas
Yeah, it was
from
weird.
this man, and just trusted him. Whereas once the truth came out, then he was like, "Is this true, Wormtongue?" And then he just runs
Oh yeah,
like
so nothing will happen to you if you tell me it's true. And then he runs and he's like, "Oh, let him go." I'm like, what? Like in the movie, he fucking throws him down the stairs and he's gonna kill him. There's Aragorn that stops him. Says, "Don't," you know.
yeah. Uh, so I'm
Yeah.
not really thinking much of King Theoden because all King Theoden is just a face in this animation.
Yeah.
Uh, so you see him riding. Gandalf disappears. The battle ensues. They go to Helm's Deep. Uh, I do like the look of the battle. Um, once it comes to Helm's Deep, and I do like the moment where the riders of Rohan show up at the end. But all throughout this, um, I do believe we get a couple of moments with Smeagol,
Yep.
and that's
Oh
really
yeah, I
not
would
he's
actually
not
say,
Gollum. He's not Gollum in here. He's Smeagol.
oh yeah. And actually, although of course he is not, he doesn't look the same as he does in the live action movies, but I thought
Still
the
looks a
way they
thousand times,
portrayed him,
thousand
at
times
least his
better,
look,
Oh hell no,
1,000 times better than he does in the second one.
hell no.
Hey, dude, how
I
the fuck
think
do
this
you
is
gonna
the
say a
worst
giant frog with
adaptation of
fucking
Gollum.
monkey ears is better?
I think this is the worst adaptation of Gollum. I think that
No, the giant frog with monkey ears is worse.
that was the first adaptation of Gollum that I had ever seen.
I don't give a shit.
Frog.
Still sucked.
I think,
having squads.
but I guess that's just me. But we'll get to that because we haven't even discussed that film yet.
Ugh, it's fucking horrible. I would have said that as a kid.
Anyways, we do get moments of them with Gollum, and honestly, even though I watched it yesterday, I can barely remember the moments with Gollum. That this was so truncated that I'm not sure what fucking happens, except for the fact that he leads them through to some of Mordor. And I don't even think, do we get much anger towards him at first from Frodo or Samwise or anything like that? Much emotion towards Smeagol, do you think?
Yeah, a
Roland?
little bit. He didn't trust him and shit.
Well, yeah, there was a little bit of conflict.
Okay. But we pretty much get the writers of Rohan coming down, and I guess that's pretty much it. They end it kind of fucking there, don't they? Pretty sure they end it there. And
Yeah, actually, they did kind of get to some stuff that in the live action movies we got only in Return of the King.
but let us get into the discussion on Return of the King. So this this one was produced and directed by Arthur Rankin and Jules Bass. It was filmed in 1980, and it had Orson Bean, Theodore Beichel, William Conrad, John Huston, Roddy McDowell, and Theodore with the talents of Paul Prez and Glenn Yarborough as the minstrel. And it says it's based on the original version of The Hobbit and The Return of the King. So, Kroll, was this a first time watch for Return of the King?
Yep. And last.
And what were your thoughts on it?
Animation was slightly better, except for Gollum, which was just the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. Which is absolutely horrible. Giant frog with monkey ears. Just horrible. And he had like basically nothing to do with the story. Like barely anything to do with the story. Unlike in the live action. And they skipped the spider scene completely. And the song's kind of funny though. Frodo, the Nine Fingers, in the Ring of Doom, and they tell the whole story of how Frodo loses a finger.
Well, to be honest, this is kind of like Sam's. Like, this is kind of Sam's movie, in a sense.
He's a little better in this one than he was in the other one, but I still think they made him somewhat of a pussy. Yes, not as bad. I agree.
Okay.
But yeah,
The Return of the King was
definitely seen like more Sam movie than Frodo or anybody. I mean, they did show the battle at Gondor,
Minas Tirith.
but yeah, it wasn't. Didn't really show much. It wasn't a lot to it. They never had the elf show up.
No, the battles and all that definitely seem more like background, to than it was like
completely. Well, again, it's for kids, so they don't want to glorify the war or whatever. You know, especially in that day and age. But yeah, but I'm okay with that. I'm just not okay with the way they fucking shoot Gollum. Like it's horrible, horrible. Like I said,
See,
like, Aragorn looked way better. Um, Merry and Pippin were still like super weird, super weird. Like what was that? Was it Pippin that looked like fucking Luigi from Super Mario?
Oh
Kinda,
my.
with
but not as
curly
good.
hair, with curly hair.
Yeah, it was weird, really weird. Yeah, for the most part, the animation was better, but yeah, that was definitely. And like I said, Gollum, I don't know how you can possibly like it better than the other, but I guess that's taste or lack of.
I wouldn't call it lack of taste.
I'd call it lack of taste, and I
It
did.
was having this being the first adaptation of the
I don't
of
care. I didn't see. Okay, I don't care if I saw it as a kid. I still would have been like, "What the hell?" I still wouldn't have liked it. So there's no excuse.
this was the first time that Gollum, to me, had been represented on film.
That's
So
fine. That's fine. I still would have been like, "What the hell is this?"
to me, I bought it.
I would have. I would have been horrified.
I was a kid
I would
when
have
I
been
saw this.
horrified. And I've seen horror movies as a kid, so
When
tons.
Wow.
I liked the music to this because there were definitely more than just the Frodo and the Nine Fingers song.
Yeah,
Even the villagers
the
had a song.
Frodo Nine Fingers in the Ring of Doom is just fucking hilarious. They're singing about the fact that he has only 9 fingers because Gollum fucking bit his finger off.
Yep.
Right.
Uh,
But in
any
the live action, he didn't bite the whole finger off. He only bit half of it off.
true. And if you kind of look, he actually still has half of his finger, like when he's sitting there
Well, it looked
listening
like
to
he
the
didn't have any finger on. Maybe in some of the drawings he had all of it, and some of it he didn't. Because I didn't see any finger on it on his hand.
Well, anyways, we do have the beginning of the film have it happen on one of Bilbo's birthdays, which I don't know how this can fucking happen. Especially since he looks older than he was in the Lord of the Rings animation. And I think it was in the live action his 111th birthday. This was his 91st birthday.
Was it?
Yeah, in this
Well,
animation.
no. This one he was 192 or 100 and something. He was 100 and something in this one. It was
Okay,
111. They never celebrated another birthday after the 111th. This one he was like fucking almost 200, and he kept falling asleep. And
yeah,
I'm just resting my eyes.
yeah, and this is supposedly after. This is supposedly after this whole ring journey, and they're back in the Shire, all of them, like Elrond and Gandalf. They're all sitting around having a birthday party at Bilbo's place in the Shire. This
Yep.
is impossible
Yep.
to begin with.
Yep.
But they have a minstrel.
But that's when they all say that Gandalf is also going with the elves with Bilbo, and then Frodo has to go too.
Correct.
And then Sam wants to go because Frodo's going.
But
And they're like,
Bilbo
no, Sam,
never
you
went
must stay.
back
You
to
should
the
stay here.
Shire,
But
nor
they didn't have anything to do with him and the
no.
bartender or
But
anything either.
Bilbo never went back to the Shire, nor did Elrond ever step foot in the Shire.
No,
So
actually,
whoever
Bilbo
they
did. Frodo. Oh, Bilbo never did. Yeah, you're right. Frodo did. Bilbo didn't.
So you
Yeah.
got two characters that should have never been in the Shire.
Yeah, yeah. They definitely changed it from the book as well.
So you have that, and then you have the minstrel show up, and he's telling the story. And he's kind of the narrator almost too, because the song basically depicts what happened. I would have to say in the Return of the King, basically. So we do have, I believe, at the beginning of the movie, it's like they have Samwise um, pick up the story where I guess it's after the spider moment, and they get and the orcs have gathered his body and brought it to this tower, which is guarded by these watchers, and that's pretty much uh, it's pretty much Samwise's journey to get him back from these ogres and then take him to Mount Doom to help him destroy the ring. But in the background, we have the Battle of Minas Tirith, and we do meet Boromir's father.
Minas Tirith.
Yeah, Minas Tirith is, and it's kind of like
Yeah,
the
and you never
staff
meet
in the middle.
Faramir. You never
Yeah,
meet Faramir at all.
Boromir has already been passed and gone.
Right, but you never meet his brother.
Yeah, you never meet his brother. You
Yeah, they
meet his
never had that scene. They never had the
and
scene of the Spider Queen.
you never have that. No. Um, you do have them in the midst of battle with the ring wraiths. Is there really a ring wraith king? Yes, there is. There is a ring wraith king, which evidently it's got a crown on top of two red glowing eyes, which is almost like it's taken from a He-Man character.
What?
Well, that's the. He's kind of like an invisible creature,
No, who is?
the Witch King,
Um,
because you
oh
can't
yeah,
see.
yeah. The way they drew Skeletor kind of with the heads like his head is like up, like there's like nothing in between his neck and head. It's just a face there above the. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's kind of like the Invisible Man with red
Yeah,
eyes and a
yeah,
crown.
yeah. I mean, you see his face, but there's like he's got no chin, no like there's like an empty space there. Like part of his neck is like is invisible, like you said.
So you do have
I kind of liked it. It was definitely better than I think it was better than the last movie as well. Like I said, except for Gollum, I liked most of the animation better. And
and the
Gollum
orcs.
and
The
I think it was
orcs
Pippin.
look like orcs.
Pippin or Mary. I can't remember which, but yeah.
The orcs look like orcs,
The
and
orcs,
that's
yeah,
supposed
those
to be.
kind of look like more like cartoon orcs. Not really orcs like in the movies, but yeah. More like goblins actually. They look more like goblins. To me. But they were I mean with Tolkien the
They were
goblins
more
and orcs are basically the same thing with
they were more believable.
um whereas like in D&D orcs are a lot bigger than goblins. So.
They were more believable to me. And you could definitely tell. Now they are in the midst of battle at Minas Tirith, and they're talking about the return of the king, as if Aragorn has not even shown up yet, and supposedly
They
the whole battle
destroy
with
the
the orcs,
ring in the Return of the King.
happens, and so does the Riders of Rohan, and you do have the Riders of the Narskool. You get to see their faces.
And the king kind of just gets killed. Like they didn't have like a big scene where
King Theoden.
like Eowyn's trying to protect him, and then he dies, and Arwen's kind of like they didn't really have that scene. They kind of well, I can't say they changed it because it was first, but it's different than the way it was in the movie. And I don't remember if it's exactly written, but she's like she says, I don't know, man, I'm Ewan, but this is like before she even fights him. Like I like the way they did it in the movie where he's like, no man can kill me, and then she takes off the mask and then stabs him in the face. Like I like that way better.
I like it way better in the live action movie, but I do like the fact that we kind of do get that in
Yeah,
this
I
part.
mean it is cool that they still show her as a badass fighter, even though she's a woman, which is definitely cool for the 80s.
Well, they definitely need her to be able to kill the Witch King. You know.
Yeah, yeah, because no man can kill it, so that means it has to be a woman. Well, it's like in Buffy, no man-made weapon can kill the judge, and they shoot him with a bazooka. Well, no man-made weapon back in the 1600s, but there's a lot more better weapons now. A gun probably could have killed him, but using a bazooka was cool.
Well, and
What is
see, in the
that?
live action movie, you can't help compare this. He went and got those dead ass warriors, and they were what helped get
Yeah,
completely.
I missed. I thought they were gonna do. They didn't do a version of the undead at all either. When I saw the black sails, they were just like, "Oh, it's Aragorn." He's just like it was just Aragorn and them. It was just you know, the threesome. It wasn't fucking. It wasn't the undead or anything. And then the orcs just ran away. like,
Yeah,
like the orcs just ran away from three guys, like three people. Like what? Like if the undead were there and they ran away, I could see, but.
yeah, and
It
Aragorn
was just
didn't even show up until like the last like 3/4 of the movie.
Yeah, it was just Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli that shows up and they run away. like
There's no fucking battle or anything that they do.
yeah,
They just
they just run
appear,
away. Like
and
oh
I
my god,
guess
oh no, these three are
everything's
here. We're toast.
and there's no last battle stand. Like it goes to Sam and Frodo and the fight with Gollum with the ring, and that's pretty much it. There's no attempt to show that there's this eye like in the middle of Mordor that's ever gleaming down on them, and they have this last battle to try to distract you know it doesn't happen in this animation. All the orcs just kind of just run away, and that's the end of the Minas Tirith battle. And then, of course, the second that it's known that the ring has been destroyed, that's when the eagles. They do have a small cool moment with the eagles. They do have a small cool moment with the eagles where they talk about the Eagles and their greatness and all that jazz. What do you think, Kroll?
What?
What do you think about the scene with the Eagles being sent and all that jazz? I thought that was kind of cool.
Honestly, I don't know what the fuck happened, but I somehow missed it.
Okay, yeah,
I must have been looking at my other screen or something because I had to watch it on my computer, but I really don't remember seeing that.
okay. Well, they talked about the Eagles and their greatness and the history of the Eagles before they were sent and carried them back, and
I
then
didn't like the look of the mounts, the worms that the dragons were riding on, the wyverns. They were they kind of remind me a little bit like almost like a pterodactyl, but not as cool looking. Just like the face maybe. But yeah, I definitely didn't like them as much, and the way they had Ewan kill it too. It just kind of she just like stabbed it and then it fell over. And then the movie was so much live action, so much cooler. She chopped its head off.
Yeah,
But
that was.
again, kids movie, I guess, so they didn't want to chop the head off. But
I mean, I suppose at least they had Pippin. Uh, no, not Pippin. It was Mary. It was Mary in battle.
oh yeah, and Mary's like, I will avenge my lord. I'm like, what? You just met him, like, like I didn't get that part at all. Like it was like, all right, eh. And they didn't have any of the scene where Pippin had taken the ball, or them getting the
No,
ball,
but
or the crystal
there
ball,
was
or him going with Gandalf. Or he did
there
go with
there was a moment with the
Gandalf to
steward.
Gondor, but they never said why.
There was a moment with the steward
Yeah.
that he had one of those balls.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, he had one of those balls and said, "I've seen all." And and Gandalf had said something to the effect that I saw the vision that was in that ball. You know, uh, it it scared me. It not scared him, but he does not think that at that moment that
All
they were.
men that don't want to be possessed die now.
He does not have.
He's even more of a wimp in this one.
He does not
The
see.
other one, he was just a douchebag. This one, he was a wimp.
Yeah, he was more of a like someone like Gandalf in this one.
What do you mean, like Gandalf?
Oh well, it seemed like he was like on the order, like on the wizard's order or some shit, because he had
No, he was just an
magic.
old douchebag. He was just an old fucking pussy. Compare him to a fucking wizard.
No,
The
all
awesome
I'm
things in the
saying is
world.
because of the magic in which he carried, they put him in
He
the
carried no
steward.
magic. He wasn't no magic.
Well,
He was a
no,
steward.
in the novel, no, he was no magical creature or anything like that. But in here, he had that magical ball, which made him
Okay, he still
powerful.
wasn't no wizard.
Well, maybe he thought he was because of Lord Sauron.
Uh huh.
But regardless, I guess there was a moment where they talked about his death. Like this is when the king of Minas Tirith and his fall came, and it was so short. It was like a blink of an eye that his death happened. Like they didn't even show it. Um, but you get the black sails show up, and you get the return of the king, and I guess that was the end of the Ministerium, and you get the
And
whole.
then it was like Gandalf saying, like, don't go to war, and he's like, oh, I choose to go to war. It was just weird, like why they did all that. Like it was like in the live action, they went out there to be a distraction for Frodo, and here it's just like they had Aragorn be like a warmonger, it's just weird.
um, what do we think about the? Uh, well, we definitely have Sam. Uh, he has this moment with the Watchers where he. I guess they make more of a thing out of the vial of
Yeah, the
Galadriel.
vial of light is like somehow just some magic dust instead.
Yeah, because apparently the gate to this orc tower that Frodo was kept in is like invisible. So when he first pulls it out, it like opens up the door for him. But when he had with her, so um, I don't know what made that orc so afraid of him. Maybe it was the Vial of Galadriel along with the sword when he went up the tower, because that orc like ran from him.
Yep.
And was so scared of him, and I guess he told him well, when he went into the tower, all he saw was bodies, all the bodies of the orcs. So he was wondering what the fuck happened because they were almost already dead.
Yep.
And so the one orc told him exactly what was going on. Um, that they had fought over Frodo's possessions. He said.
Yeah. And then Sam's like, "Well, I had it," and he's like, "You have it. Give it to me."
And I guess he gets flung off.
Well, he throws himself off.
Yeah, but he goes up and gets to Frodo, and Frodo's all like sad, like he thinks that the whole thing is done
His
and over
quest
with.
has failed because they got everything, and he uses everything, and Sam's like, "No, not everything. I got the ring. You got the ring. Give it to me. Give it to me. It's my
Yeah. Instead of just a slow motion, Sam gives it over to him. You know,
Yeah.
it's
That's
more or
like
less,
Frodo turning into Gollum for a couple
yeah,
times.
for a moment. I guess it was a gender swap for him, but
A
Gollum's
gender
male.
squad.
Well, then gender's
uh, creature swap, so to speak, where they switched them out for Gollum for a moment. But yeah, so we get him uh, gathering up the orc armor, and they end up going. And that's when you have the orcs have their song. The orcs have a song. I like that song. I don't know what it's called, and I'm sure it says
left,
something.
right, left.
What were they saying?
What was it? Something about the whip.
Yeah, for some reason I like that song.
It was catchy.
It was. And so they're marching to Mordor with this orc army, which is a lot more larger looking than the one that you see in the live action one. Because it
And
looks
also they get caught as deserters
correct.
and told to get back in the line. And the whipmaster was watching them.
But they continue onwards, and that's when they run
And
into
they ran into the men, and the men say, "Where we become for orcs, and we're gonna go." And then Frodo gets the bright idea to say, "You're not gonna take that from them, those nasty humans, are you? You're not gonna say that better than us. We should kill him. Yeah, kill him. Kill them all." He gets all the goblins riled up, so they fight each other and they take off. That was pretty neat. I like that.
yeah, it was. I
That was
did like
pretty
that.
interesting.
Um, and so they end up getting to the mouth of Mount Doom, and that's when of course we get
To
Gollum.
the crack of doom. What the fuck? I had to drop it
The
to the
mouth,
crack of doom.
the mouth of
They
Mount
said crack.
the crack. Well,
Yes. I
I
laughed
I
my ass
suppose
off when I
crack
was
is
doing
better
it.
than old Toby.
But they're talking about the crack of doom.
Okay, so they only talk about it as the crack of doom.
It's weird and funny. They'll act. What the fuck?
But you have the fight that ensues between Gollum and Frodo, and I believe Sam is involved in it too. Um, and it does kind of happen like it does in the live action movie. It's just one thing. The ring itself, it looks like a fucking gold washer, like as if like it was. It doesn't look like a ring. It looks like a washer ring. You know the kind, like it's flatter, and you've never heard of a washer ring, something that goes behind a screw. Kroll.
Of course I have.
Didn't it look like a washer?
No.
I mean, it didn't.
By
It
the
didn't
way,
look like
guys,
a
I'm
ring.
sorry for not being able to contribute much to the discussion since I uh, didn't realize there were two movies. So as I mentioned before, I failed to see this one.
Okay,
Squab.
watch it sometime this week, and
I will.
I concur with Crow. Squab. Anyways,
Yeah, I
uh,
am. Fuck.
so I guess we do get a little bit more of Aragon towards the end because they do show um, a little bit about his crowning, and then they go back to the minstrel and his singing the Frodo and the Nine Fingers and the Ring of Doom,
Yeah.
and that's when I noticed for the first time that Frodo actually had his hand bandaged, and you could see like half of his finger was missing. So while he was sitting there listening, that's where I noticed it. So, but that is pretty much the end of the Return of the King. I mean, it is pretty much straightforward. There is a lot of the battle is in the background. It's not really the focal point of the story. In fact, you could almost like forget that the battle even exists. You know, because they put that part to the back. It's like they wanted the whole journey to Mount Doom and and showing Samwise's character more than they wanted the background of Minas Tirith and that shit going on. But there is the Return of the King. So, um, as far as production goes, what did y'all think of the Lord of the Rings production?
Except for Gollum better than the other
Mm,
one.
well,
Oh,
well,
Lord of the Rings.
I unfortunately
Shit.
can't.
And we can talk
I,
about the Lord of the Rings and the Return of the King in this production area. So,
Oh, Return of the King was better except for Gollum. It was really crappy in Lord of the Rings, I think, the animation. Gollum
um,
wasn't great in that one, but still better than the second one, in my opinion.
blasphemy. But anyways, I
Alright.
don't know how you can. I don't know how you can call the Gollum that was in the Lord of the
Because
Rings.
he wasn't a giant frog with monkey ears.
He didn't even look like Gollum in there either.
No, but still doesn't look like a giant frog with monkey ears.
What about you, Boris? What did you think about the production of what you saw?
Well, I think okay, yeah, this was kind of weird to see, but truth be told, this is 1970s animation, and if we didn't have the live action movies to compare this to, I don't think it would really be that bad. But that's my opinion.
I I agree. If I had seen this years ago as a child, I guess I would accept it. But seeing it now as an adult, like I hate that I now have seen that truncated version of Lord of the Rings because I keep comparing to the live action, and it's like
Half of
uh, 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 whereas I saw the Return of the King out of all of the animations that were made of the Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King was the only one that I'd seen, and because I have some nostalgia for it, I guess I like it more than Kroll does because that's what I
No, that's not true.
remember seeing first.
I just told you that I said the animation's way better, except for Gollum.
I'm saying if you had seen it like as when you were a kid,
I would have said the same
do
thing.
you think you would have some nostalgia, more nostalgia for it?
No. If something's shit, it's shit. Doesn't matter if I was a kid or not.
See, I didn't call it. I didn't see it as shit then, and I don't see it as shit now. Yes, okay. Merry and Pippin were weird in here, and I wish the battles weren't so like backgroundish. In fact, I see a lot of flaws with it, but I still because it's more of the music. I listen. I guess I have more nostalgia for the music that they made for the film than I do the characters involved, and I do like
I mean, the music was
first
cool.
Samwise in this one better than I do the previous
I agree.
Samwise. Because that Samwise was shit. So we're Merry and Pippin in there. I think
I
they should
agree.
have been more developed, and the production was way too truncated. I mean, there were elements that I liked from Lord of the
Like I said,
Rings.
I like the way they told the story for the most part. You know, they did a pretty good shortened version of the two movies. Um, it was pretty decent as far as
You
that
could
goes.
tell that they tried to stay accurate.
Yeah, exactly. And they were telling two books in 1 2 hour movie.
But
So I think
Hollister
they did a pretty
was
decent
a
job
turd.
for that as far as telling the story, basic story.
But polish a turd, it's still a turd. uh, I mean, there were elements of it that I can see that they took and made it into the live action. I can see the blueprints that were there, you know, to tell their story, for Peter Jackson to tell his story, you know.
Well, the blueprints were also called the books too.
That's for those who have an imagination. There are those who are illiterate as well. So
I don't think Peter Jackson is.
I don't think he was illiterate. No, I think he knew his stuff. But that being
I
said,
think I think I think he did pretty damn good at getting into my head and showing me what. Well, okay, I saw the movie first, so I don't know. But it just like it easily felt like that was right when I read the book. Like the way it was described, like everybody looked the way they sounded like they would be in the book. So like that would have been like my imagination would have been close to that anyways. So I think he did a fucking spectacular job with it.
I think so too. Um, as far as the music goes, what did y'all think about the music of either one?
It was very interesting. It was fun, enjoyable. Like I said, that orc song was fun. You know,
So you think the music was better in the Return of the King?
way better.
Yeah, I didn't really notice much of the music that was involved in the Lord of the Rings
Neither did
realm.
I.
Actually, no. What about you, Boris? Did you notice any music in the what you saw?
Uh, I did notice a little bit. It's of course much different from the live action version, but yeah, once again, if we didn't know the live action version, this music wouldn't feel out of place or anything. I guess it goes well with what they intended to portray at the time.
Okay, I would say that it was serviceable, at least for Lord of the Rings. I definitely like the music involved in the Return of the King. Um, a heck of a lot better. Um, IMD. And did anyone else have anything to say on the music? Okay,
Mm,
let us go
on the
to
music, well,
um, let us go to favorite scenes and or favorite characters on both films. Uh, what about you, Boris? Since I know you only watched the one, um, did you have a favorite character or favorite scene?
ooh, phew. Well, maybe in this case, my favorite character would be Gollum or Smeagol because I think of all the characters they animated, I think that one was done the best. In the first movie, I haven't seen the second one, so I cannot say anything about that one yet. And my favorite scene, whew, mm, well, I'm not sure, but maybe I would go with the scene when Boromir tried to take the ring from Frodo. Well, I think I mentioned that scene before in the live action movie. Uh, for us in Croatia, that scene is especially funny because it reminds everyone of a certain Croatian parody of it that exists on YouTube. So, of course, this scene is different from what this thing on YouTube portrays, but it inevitably reminds of that, which automatically makes it hilarious. But also, maybe I would like to mention Boromir's death because, as you said, this animation was intended for kids, so I was surprised that they included so much blood and stuff in that scene.
Um,
Uh,
there was a little bit of blood, but not much. I mean, they didn't have a splatter. It was more like a purple slash. You know, they used a purplish color to um exact that they were in fact like sliced. You know, um, but I guess I thought it was weird that all the arrows just went went to his heart and he pulled them out. uh, Evidently, they couldn't make the arrows go anywhere else on his body.
Mm.
But other than that, did you have any other
Yeah, I guess.
favorite scenes?
Mm, whew. Well, since the story is the same, I already know. I don't know. It's difficult to choose another one because I would have to choose it by the way it's animated rather than by the story itself, and so these are the only ones that came to mind.
Okay, heading over to you, Ron. Favorite scene and/or favorite characters in Lord of the Rings and Return of the King.
Um, I guess that orc song.
Well, that would be in the Return of
And,
the King.
yeah, and um, no, Aragorn kind of looked the best out of all of them, as animation goes.
Okay. And that would be in Return of the King. Did you like anything from Lord of the Rings at all?
The credits.
Jeez.
Okay. I did. I myself, in Lord of the Rings, I think the only thing that I could say that I really liked were two scenes, maybe three. The part where they went to the pillars of Hamo.
Oh
Uh,
wait, I'm sorry. There was a scene I liked. I'm sorry. The sword fight that actually didn't happen in the live action when when Nazgul went to stab Frodo and he actually was fighting him back with the sword. I did like that scene.
okay. Um, I like the little moment that you get of Deagle and Smeagol, and actually, I can't think of the third one right offhand, so I think I'll go with those two as far as that one. But I do like a lot of the animation of the Return of the King. Um, I actually do like Gollum. In fact, I like this one a heck of a lot better than the crappy ass version that they had in Lord of the Rings, the animation. So, um,
Blasphemy!
not blasphemy. It's
Blasphemy!
I think that this one was better. Um,
Blasphemy!
you can say that all you want, but it was better.
Good, I am. Blasphemy!
Regardless, it
Fucking
is
giant frog and
what I
monkey
think,
ears.
and I
Is it a
will say,
frog? Is it a monkey? Is it a golem? We don't know.
but I like the song, the songs from the orcs, and the song that was about Frodo. And every time I think about this animation, I always sing Frodo and
Oh,
the
Mo does too.
Fingers and the Ring of Doom.
Mo does too.
Frodo.
For the first time he said that, it's like, what the hell is he talking about? Like, it didn't even dawn on me, like, nine fingers, like, what, like his finger getting cut off. Yeah. And then I saw it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. His finger got cut off.
I even started singing that like in one of our discussions, and
Yeah, he did. That's why I was kind of like,
but
what?
it is catchy,
It is.
and so are some of the
I do
other.
like that song
I mean,
too, but that orc one is even catchier.
yeah, I agree. I like the song of the orcs, and for some reason, I think I would have to say one of my favorite moments in this particular animation was uh, the part with Samwise Gamgee and the Watchers. Um, in both parts, for some reason, I liked the look of those gargoyles, and
They were cool.
I thought that that was something different for the file of Calandriel to have the powers to do.
And
So
Frodo couldn't even tell him exactly what it did because
no,
it would make
in this one he could.
not strong enough.
In this one he couldn't. Whereas in the
Yeah.
live action,
It was just light. You know, may it be the light in the darkest places.
yeah,
Which I like that line, but
it was a more open um, a thing that Frodo could actually tell everyone about. You know, it was not exactly something that he had to keep secret about its origins in the live action. I don't think, you know, because they were journeyers together. They were adventurers together. They were mates. You know, so of course you can probably tell that. You know, at least in the live action one. Whereas here he had to keep it secret, the powers that are behind the file or whatnot. I don't know, but those parts were my favorite, and I'll take bits and pieces of both of these. It's just I'm glad I didn't see it when I was a kid. The Lord of the Rings animation. I'm glad I saw it as an adult because I can see the ferocious imaginings were not the greatest. Of course, maybe it was what they could do at the time, but according to Crow, they can always do things better.
of course, The Hobbit was fucking awesome. Watch The Hobbit, and you're like, wow, it's way better.
I may eventually watch that, just for the sake of watching it. But
Good. We might I'll fucking choose it one of these days.
in fact, I'll probably watch it after we get off here. So, but
Still might choose it.
that being said, I think that pretty much is our discussion on both, which it didn't. It wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be. So, um,
Yeah.
but
We didn't get your motor mouth girlfriend. No, I'm just kidding.
hopefully, you all out there have enjoyed our discussion, and let us know down in the comments what you thought. And then we'll be back next week with a choice by Boris. Have you chosen the movie that you want to do?
I think I will go with Stage Fright.
Okay, that's the original 1980s one, right?
Uh, Something like that. Let's see. The Stage
What is it?
Fright.
Japanese, Chinese?
It's not any of those, but it is
No,
very
it's
abstract. It's
1987.
yeah, 1987.
I don't have to read it.
You don't have to read it, but you do have to try to understand it. I'm not. It's more. I don't know. It's
Pulp Fiction.
the last. Not quite that neither. It's hard to describe
Pulp Fiction. The
because
first time I watched it, I was like, "What did I just watch?" I wasn't even sure if I liked it.
it's hard to describe because it was a hard watch for me. So even though I haven't,
Oh, w- well, I haven't seen it, but it was suggested to me because I like owls, and apparently this movie features a killer wearing an owl mask or something like that, if I understood correctly. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm interested in seeing this one.
Who was the Mo that told you about it?
Yeah, he probably did.
Uh, yes, yes.
Good guess.
Eventually, we should cover Lord of Chaos. What is it? Chaos?
Lord of Tears.
Lord of Tears. There we go. Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, I'd love that one.
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
But in any case, like, share, and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen, and let us know down in the comments what you thought. And hopefully, we'll be back with something frightening next week. So hopefully, Boris, you will set the stage because you're the one hosting.
Oh, I hope I'll be able to do that well enough since it's not a movie I'm quite an expert on. This is the first time I picked a movie I haven't seen before, so we'll see.
Definitely. So everyone say good night.
Good night.